Shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, this some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this beat myself, so hear me. I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah, it's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, big up peeps. We are back in the damn building, guys. You already know why we are here. You saw it in the thumbnail. You can see it in the title. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Ipswich forward Liam Delap. Guys, make sure you guys smash that like, share, and subscribe, of course, to the damn channel. Now, obviously, Delap is a striker that, quite a lot of people have been talking about. I will definitely say that. Quite a lot of people, obviously, this season playing for Ipswich who are struggling, of course, in the Premier League, just coming up, newly promoted. He's getting himself a few goals. He's giving himself a bit more of a reputation, I would say, in the Premier League, this season. And I think when I look at that, I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? Maybe he's a decent striker. And apparently he has got a £40 million release clause, which is obviously tied in to his contract, apparently, if Ipswich gets relegated. So listen, if Ipswich get relegated, I think they bought him for about 20 mil. So double up. Do you know what I mean? And for a team that's going down, potentially, yeah, if you can get double what you paid for someone, kind of thing, that is going to massively help, anyway. And if they've got a few other assets and stuff like that, who knows, man, they might be able to potentially come straight back up, because they have been pretty decent actually in terms of their style of play and their football that they do play. So it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see, when it does come to Ipswich and, what potentially happens. But apparently he's got this 40 million, relegation release clause, in his contract. Old school, if you remember, for those who've watched Liam Delap, I've watched him since maybe like Manchester City Academy. Maybe in his, like, I would say before he made his debut, that's when I just started to hear his name a lot. And I thought, okay, who's this guy? It's Manchester City. Like, if you're making waves at Manchester City, you must be someone. I saw Romeo Lavia and all these kind of guys, doing the same thing. And bro, he was just more physically developed than the other players. You could just see it. Like, the guy's bigger. He's more of a unit. He was a hard runner, powerful shots. Like, he was licking off shots in them academy games like no man's beer. I can't remember. I don't know where Manchester City Academy played, like where that is. But I remember always watching it thinking, like, you can hear it. Like, even when he's, like, obviously it's like, it was almost in like this kind of like indoor kind of facility thing. And I used to always think, rah, like, even when he's licking the ball, like, you can hear the poof, kind of thing. So you can tell he's giving it a good welly. Obviously Preston, Hull, Stoke City as well. He's been around the block, man. He's been around the block. Like, he's tried to learn his trade, to perfect his craft and stuff like that. And I give him credit for that. But obviously now he's in the Premier League and now he's obviously doing his thing, for Ipswich. And everyone is, of course, talking about him, saying, yo, you know what? If he can score 11 goals, for Ipswich Town, who are obviously struggling, then he must be, someone we can work off. And I guess that could potentially translate. And I'm not here to really shit on the kid, to be honest with you, because I think he's all right. Like, I think he's okay. It's just whether you believe watching this, and for those who generally rate him, do you believe, yeah, no, you know what, we can get him in, but do you want a main guy? Or is he your main guy that you're looking to get in? I think if in the summer, he's going to have of course, a lot of clubs are going to be looking at anyone who scores double figures in the Premier League. Everyone immediately just thinks of you straight away anyway. So he's going to have that. But then also, you're young, you're English, like, all of these things are going to play a part. Do I stay at Ipswich, depending on obviously if they get relegated or not? If they do get relegated, do I move to a different team? What type of team? Again, he's got to think about his own development. He was already at Manchester City, so he doesn't want to be in a position where, well, I was already at a top club and I was never going to play. Sergio Aguero, I think, was there at them times, so he was never going to play. So am I going to go to another club, like a top level team, for example, like a top 3 or 4 team in the league, go there and not really play again? So I've just got my career to this point where I'm playing consistently, I'm showing what I can do in the Premier League, and then I'm just going to go back to sitting on the bench again. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that he's going to want, to do that, if I'm being totally honest with you. And I think his talents are better than that, to be fair, and I feel like Ipswich is the level for him at this current moment in time. It's only really been one season. So again, not to shit on the kid, not to say he's dead or none of that. It's just purely, it's been one season. So to say that this can be something that you can do consistently, I don't buy it just yet. And again, he hasn't really shown that this is something he can do consistently anywhere. I mean, this season, of course, it's the most goals he's got, and it's coincidentally, in the Premier League, which is obviously a massive bonus for him. But if you look at his other seasons, last season he only got 8 goals. Season before that, he only got 1. Season before, the mixed, well, so I say he got 4, sorry, because he was at Stoke and Preston on loan there. He's not really someone who has shown that I can score prolifically. What he has shown is that he's got these attributes that people are very fond of. He's got attributes that people are like, okay, you know what? We can work with this. And that's the way I kind of look at someone like, a Delap. And one of the main attributes, of course, when you're talking about someone like him is that he can create for others. And when I say create, I'm not talking his assists. It's not about like, oh, he's going to get me like 10 assists. No. He probably could potentially in a different team. But it's how he can bring others into play. You can see he draws fouls. His defensive action. This is all goal and shot creation statistics. His take-ons. He like I said, he can win the ball further up the field depending on how you play. Again, this is why maybe like a Bournemouth or someone like that I think it'll be under Iraola as well. I feel like that'd be a really good move, for him, because he can go there and almost be that kind of battling ram, someone who is going to occupy defenders all game. He can press, he likes to run, but also he's good when the ball does, get into feet. And obviously we'll take, a quick look at that in a moment, but he can carry the ball into the final third as well. You know what I mean? Like you can see, look, carries into the final third, 1.56, which ranks him in the 89th percentile. He's got the progressive carrying distance. He's got the carries into the penalty area. Successful take-ons, 1.32. Take-ons attempted. He attempts at least just under 3 take-ons, a game, and he's successful with 40, just under half of those. So again, he's doing his thing. And this is for Ipswich, by the way. Do you know what I mean? This ain't for Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. This is for Ipswich. So if he can do that for Ipswich, I'm not saying that could not be translated, to another team. I definitely feel like that could potentially do that. Again, will the other team play to his strengths? And I think that's where the difference always lies, and why I always feel like I watch strikers and I'm like, yeah, this is why you ain't really doing your thing right now, because you've moved to a different type of team who play different types of football, and they're not utilizing, what you're actually good at. Meaning now we're just kind of seeing like this kind of washed version of yourself, and we only get to see it in glimpses. Do you get what I mean? Like we only get to see it in those kind of moments. So like it almost reminds me of like a Giroud, like the type of striker Giroud was, when he got to Arsenal, wasn't the striker that I feel like we saw, because then, in my opinion, I saw a better Giroud once he left Arsenal. Like I started seeing a guy who Chelsea were playing to his strengths, AC Milan playing to his strengths, in terms of get the ball up to this guy, he can hold up, get the ball into the freaking box, in the air. None of this tippy-tap. He can do the tippy-tappy thing. That's the thing. He can do those things. That's just not really a strength of his, though. So I always felt like, and obviously at the time as well, context, at the time, Arsenal were looking for, we need a guy who's going to come in and get Robin Van Persie numbers. And he was never going to do that. He's never going to do that. He's not that type of player. So that's why I look at Delap almost in the same kind of mold where I'm like, you're that kind of guy. Like, I'm not saying you can't play the football. I'm not saying you've been at bloody Manchester City for how long. So, of course, you know it. But that might not be your strengths. Your strengths are get the ball into the fucking space, mate. Do you know what I mean? Get that ball into some yardage and I'll run onto that. I'll chase down the lost causes. I'll make sure that when the ball comes from the goalkeeper, I can try and make that stick, or I can win us a foul, as you guys can obviously see here. And if I do need to drop deep to pick up the ball, which I don't feel he will need to do as much in a better team, but if I need to do it, I can do it. And I've shown that I'm pretty decent, at doing so. So yeah, that's why I look at him and think, okay, fair enough. Obviously, when we're looking here, like I say, it's just more about his style of play in terms of, his hold-up play and things like that. I'd say one of the things that I would say is that he's actually pretty decent. And this is obviously just Manchester City. These are the only stills that I could find. But I would say he's actually pretty decent at back to goal. He is pretty decent with his back to goal. Like it's like he can just feel the defender around him. And once he does that and he's got you, yeah, you just notice he's like, okay, cool, I'm good now. Do you know what I mean? Once I know that you're here behind me, I'm good, because I trust what I'm going to be able to do, next. So I feel like in those kind of moments, he's actually really, really good. And again, look, you can see here him obviously dropping deep, to obviously collect the ball, and then of course he's going to go on a mazy run, but he's going to go on a somewhat run, and then obviously get that ball to be able to then get that shot off. Again, this is what he likes to do. Give me space and I can run into that. Again, if you go to a team like Liverpool or like an Arsenal, you're coming up against these low blocks. You might not have that time and space. That's why I say to people, it depends on what you're trying to sign him for. And for him personally, I just feel like you need to go to the right team. You can do this kind of stuff at an Ipswich. This is Manchester City, obviously, but this is the youth team, kind of thing. So yeah, all this, I expect this. But are you going to get this type of space and time, playing for, one of the other top teams where teams are more likely to sit in a bit deeper? Can you do the other, side of the game? And this is really his game, to be honest with you. It's all about space for him. It really, really is all about space. But he's got good agility, got good coordination. He's got decent place for someone who I feel like is quite a bit of a unit. He can hold up play, and provide again for his teammates and stuff like that. His positioning, I would say, is pretty decent as well. Knows, like I said before, he knows how to use his body well. So yeah, it's just one of those interesting ones. I think it is really, really just one of those interesting ones with someone like Liam Delap. As I said before, obviously he's doing his thing now for Ipswich. He's got that 40 million release clause, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like if you can potentially continue this, I would say for another season, then I would say, yeah, 100%, someone should go out there and take a punt on him, because then he would have shown a level of consistency. I just think it's so difficult for these young players right now, for managers and stuff like that, to look at him and say, that's the guy. Obviously, I get it. Everyone needs a strike. Everyone feels like they need a striker this summer, because unless you're Newcastle or Manchester City, everyone needs a striker. You know what I mean? Heck, even Nottingham Forest are good right now, and they might just buy one for the sake of buying one. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, everyone feels like they need that striker. I need that number 9. I need that guy who can get me the goals. And if he can't get me the goals, I need him to offer me something else. Maybe Delap, is that type of individual who can offer you something else. I don't really know. I would love to know what people think, in the comment section and stuff like that. Again, I'm more thinking about what kind of capacity would you be signing? Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, it might cost you about 40 mil. So just bear that in mind. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a club who don't spend that much money, then yeah, how is that going to work, for you guys, in terms of, yeah, okay, we're going to bring him in, then we're going to try bring in another, I don't know, an 80, 90 million pound striker. So that's now what, 120 to 30 mil on 2 strikers, which is pretty decent when you do think about it. But at the same time, could that money have been used elsewhere? I don't know. Let me know, of course, in the comment section what you guys think about Liam Delap. Would you sign him this summer? If not, where do you think he will go? I'll catch you guys soon, man.